There we go. All right, I'm going to get started here. Got a pretty decent delay here, so sometimes it takes me 10 or so seconds before I see what's wrong with whatever I'm doing here. All right, I'm going to get started here. And I should turn off my audio here. Got a pretty decent delay here, so sometimes it takes me 10 or so seconds before I see what's wrong with whatever I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. Please let me know if there are any audio issues. Things should work okay though. Although I'm not seeing the audio coming in here. Okay. I kind of wish I could turn off my preview of YouTube and just see the chat window for YouTube, since it's really weird to kind of see what I'm doing, what I was doing like 5 seconds ago. If anyone knows how to do that, please let me know. Okay, what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of fixing the pose here. It'd be really great. I wish I would have got a camera that's got a remote control like on the Zoom. So I could kind of like zoom in and you could kind of see the detail I'm working on a little bit better. But yeah, I'm just trying to kind of get this pose in here. right now I'm just cleaning my layouts up a little bit before I start tying everything down. I mean, sorry, I'm kind of tying everything down, and then I'll start doing some inking. So if any of you watched last week or 2 weeks ago, this is kind of what I'm working on. So this is how far I've gotten. So I'm going to try to take the rest of the page to this point. I'm just trying to work with this character's mustache a little bit. Just trying to make something happen with the shapes that's kind of more interesting and balanced. Get a good feel for where the page borders are. When I first started doing this series, I left all of doing the borders for the digital phase of things. I've started trying to do it more on the page. Part of that's because my understanding is that it's, when you eventually get to the point where you start selling your work, which I don't really do that much right now, that people kind of collectors want the finished looking page. So I need to get better at doing that. But in general, I do kind of like the ethos of doing as much by hand as possible. That's why I've tried to start doing my word balloons by hand. My word balloons, probably the sloppiest looking word balloons though. This is what you all tuned in for, to see me drawing lines. Okay, that's good enough for now. I've made so many amateur errors as I've started this book. It's like I'm just now starting to get more consistent at making sure I plan out a page with the word balloons on the page. I have so many pages where I just totally neglected that and had to figure out how to stuff them in somehow. So I'm trying to include those in my layouts more now. I'm just stopping here for a second to go reference some earlier art to make sure I'm kind of getting a character accurate. If I was really doing things right, I would have things like character sheets and turnarounds and stuff, which maybe someday I'll do, but not this day. Okay, so how's this dude need to look? There we go. I am so bad at like being on model with my characters. My characters like diverge so quickly. And I had a sketchbook that used to have all of my character designs in it, but it was in a bike pack of mine that was stolen. So I don't have the original designs for this book. I think I must have. I think, although I do think I have some digital copies someplace, but it's still a bummer. All right, his face needs to be higher. Those proportions don't look right to me. His face is too big there too. Yeah. Kind of drawing out this pose. Hey, my bald spot. Okay. I need to not get in so tight here. Just covering up my own drawing. So before I kind of had his chest puffed out a little bit, which just isn't right for this character. He's just a little bit too humble for that. And he's supposed to be, you know, maybe a little bit older, and so I want to kind of give him more of a rounded back just to give him a little, you know, less kind of intimidating posture. Okay, let's see. We'll go down and do these rocks, and then we'll be about ready to start doing some ink here. Okay, I think I'm going to start doing some inking here. Now, one of the tough things about streaming like this is sometimes I like to have my face like 2 inches away from the paper. So I'm rethinking where I've kind of placed this crucifix, kind of looking at the image. It doesn't feel like the details on this rock are really following kind of the form and the shape of the rock. So I'm kind of just resketching out that form, and then I'm going to kind of draw on top of that. All right, and just greebling out some lichens. Boy, I should really look at some reference while I'm doing this. Okay. That effect isn't quite working. Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually putting on some correction fluid right now because I don't like how this effect is looking. I do quite a bit of back and forth. I mean, I guess I should make more of my mistakes when I'm when I'm penciling and not when I'm inking, but I use a lot of correction fluid. And what I primarily use is this. I got this off of Jet Pens, and it is Sailor. It's Sailor, 1mm, and then it's all in Japanese. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm sure you can find it on Jet Pens if you looked. So anyway, that's kind of what it looks like. And I'll use other things if I'm doing effects where I just need to do some subtractive effects, like you know, Signo Uniball, or this is stuff that Ryan Otley introduced me to, is the Posca, Uniposca. These are really nice for specific effects, like you can do some cool like splatter effects, which I might try and demo sometime. I just wanted to kind of get the sense of these kind of worn out. Like there used to be something written here, but it's been kind of worn out. Some effects like these that I try to do, I'll do quite a bit of trial and error before I get them right. There was an earlier page where I had an effect where there's a baby basically getting like baptized in a pan of water, trying to do this effect of him going under the water and the kind of the distortion, what do you call that, the refraction, like the refraction of the water. And I did, you know, several tests on that where I just tried to kind of like do some studies of refraction. And then when I actually did it, sat down and did it, I redid it, you know, 2 or 3 times till I got an effect that I was happy with. So if I was smart, I would do some be looking at some more reference with this, but it looks like it's coming along okay. All right, I'm going to erase out this previous kind of crucifix I drew in there, just to, it's not distracting me quite as much. What I really need to do sometime is just do like a post that's just about the tools that I use. I may need to do that for quite a while, but seems to be a pretty common question. But yeah, one of the nice things to kind of get to when you do comic book work, or to kind of realize, is that like, yeah, you can go back and fix mistakes. I think it's really scary when you first start doing inking a page, just to have to worry about what happens when you make a mistake. And it's nice to know that you can go back and fix things. I had a chance to look at some of James Herron's original pages, and you can see that he does quite a bit of correction on his pages. So he'll have pieces of cut out pieces of paper overlaying a panel where he's redrawn an entire panel. You'll see a lot of correction fluid, like some pretty heavy correction fluid. So that trial and error is fine. I've had some pages where I've really gone heavy on that, done quite a bit with the corrections. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Oh, thank you. I mean, if for those that are not watching this live, comment from one of the viewers just saying pages 13 through 20 look nice. So thank you. This has been the first project I've done that didn't involve like monsters or a fight scene or something in it. And it's been really interesting. Maybe it's just that I'm getting older, turning into an old man, but it's kind of interesting working on a project that just kind of, there's a lot of storytelling that just involves like people interacting with each other, and still finding that to be like really satisfying and interesting personally. That being said, I'm trying to set up for some really cool stuff that's going to be a little bit more like sensational. The basic kind of premise of Green Monk is he's supposed to be this guy that goes around and like fights monsters and stuff. And the section I'm working on right now, it's going to be kind of the last little bit before we start seeing a little bit of the more fantastic stuff, which I'm excited about. Okay, just rendering a rock. All right, let's do this other rock in the background. All right, so this is a case where I'm going to pull out the uniball just to make sure that some of this is standing out a little bit better. Well, I don't know. I mean, I need to hatch that a little more strongly for that effect to work. Yeah. I don't know if that's working. Okay. All right, let's sorry, I'm kind of bad about drawing stuff that's off screen. Yeah, that's not working there. Am I gonna regret trying to do this. Well, whatever. All right, I'm gonna try to pull back some of this hatching, maybe a little bit. Oh, so I have a question here just about like my story process. So, yeah, let me talk about that a little bit. I'm trying to kind of think of where to start with story, like how I approach things. You know, with story, kind of my first step when I'm doing story is I'll write a script, and I like to write in screenplay format. And when I'm writing kind of that script, my thought is really just like I want to try to get down the main beats. I'm going to write kind of the main beats in dialogue. So I really don't start thinking about page layout until I do my layouts. So once I have a script, I'll do a layout based on the script. And that's kind of what I try to figure out what's going on panel to panel. You know, and before I start writing, I may have kind of a session where I'm just trying to kind of like figure out what the main beats of the story are. And of course, I spend a lot of time just when I'm not writing, I spend a lot of time kind of thinking about how I might solve different story issues or like problems. But yeah, I'll normally start with in screenplay format. I use what's the name of the program I use for doing scripts? Geez, it's been a while since I worked on the script. Is it Sakuli? No. That's a totally different program. Man, I can't even remember what I use for writing my script right now. But anyway, so I do it in that's not super important. Maybe I'll figure that out another time and post something about that. But for this whole storyline that I'm doing, the total script I think was maybe 9 pages long. The finished layouts were about 90 pages. So I compress, the first script, the story is pretty compressed. And I may have some simple, like, for example, I had that sequence where the monk kind of grows up. That was probably a page where I'm just like, just saying, oh, there's a montage where he grows up. And then when I get into actually doing the layouts, then I'll go in and do like kind of thing by thing what's going on. I kind of feel like there's different things that can be better solved in a word processor, and there's things that are better solved on the drawing table. And so I actually, in my kind of last stage of writing will be, after I'm done with the art, I'll go back and still be making changes on the writing and dialogue and stuff. Dialogue is just so difficult. I spend a lot of time just trying to figure out dialogue, and it still ends up sounding really cheesy to me at the end. So I've basically done the layout for this, the layouts for this entire story arc that's going to be about 80-something pages long, 80, 90 pages long. But as I go along as well, I make little tweaks to the story, and I may redo quite a bit of the layouts as I go. So this next sequence I'm doing after this bit ends, there's a sequence I'm doing. I've been thinking a lot about kind of revisiting the story and the layouts and kind of rethinking how I'm going to do it. So we'll see how much I change that. I can't really chew gum and talk. I don't know if that was the best best description of my story process. Oh, there's my big head again. You can see every hair on my head in perfect detail. I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit here. Get a little closer to what I'm doing. Can I zoom in more? Oh, I forgot the delay. It's going to take me a while to see if it even worked. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just try to stay within that zone. Yeah, I totally get that problem. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't see Jacob's comment there too. Okay, but so yeah, as far as writing, having lots of story ideas, I definitely suffer from that same problem. I mean, I don't know if it's really a problem, but I think it's a really good idea to kind of decide on one, even though it's easier than it sounds. You really kind of have to decide on one story and kind of just decide, okay, like really take a sober moment and think, what story is most important to you right now. You really got to commit to that. Kind of the idea there is maybe you'll find out it's not the story. Like maybe that's the wrong direction to take. Maybe you should have started on another story, but you kind of need to commit to a certain direction to learn whether it's the right direction or not. A little bit of a rambly way to say it, but and then to answer Jacob's point. So there's a comment that I've got a lot of white space going on. I'm going to try to balance that out. Oh, and as far as the background goes, this panel I did with the rocks. So I'm really not going to add much more black to this. I guess I could, but I'm going to kind of leave it like this. I may add some more when I get into toning it. I may add some more tone that will increase the focus on like where the text is going to be. But I think this is as much black as I want to add. I'm kind of thinking that this panel right here, I'll probably fill in this whole background. I'll probably fill in with black just to get a little bit more of that rhythm going. And then this one here, I'm going to leave this white. I mean, I may come in and add a little bit of like flecks of something to give a sense of atmosphere, but yeah, I try not to go too heavy with the background if that's kind of already been established and you know what's going on there. On this panel here, there's going to be a few more indications of environment here. So I'm just going to sketch some of these things in. Just to kind of tie it into the frame earlier. But it's kind of as the scene progresses, you don't need to show the whole environment. Since you've already kind of established it, as the scene progresses, it's kind of like I've got my establishing shot here, and this is kind of the setting. Then I got the second one here, which still is kind of referencing the setting a little bit. But then as it becomes more about the relationship between the two characters and their discussion, I want the focus to be more on them. We already know the setting, and it's kind of a way of kind of narratively kind of narrowing the focus. So, I don't know. Anyway. All right, Clayton, thanks for dropping in. My computer is running out of juice. I better make sure it's plugged in. Okay. Little by little, my word balloons are starting to look not so awful. But they still look kind of bad. Dude, this guy's all about mustache. This is one of these designs that really makes you like rethink your choices. Drawing an unruly mustache like this. And if you care to look back, I sometimes am a little bit inconsistent with how I draw this mustache. Alright, let's make sure I know where this border is supposed to end. So I don't have to draw too much unnecessarily. Right there. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more here, and I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. Let me draw in our guy here. His face is just going to look a little funky because he just got beat up. Okay, I'm going to add the black into this frame. All right, it's Sharpie time. It's pretty ghetto. Actually, I should use the Prismacolor for that. There was a day when you couldn't really do this because I think of fading issues and stuff like that. But since I'm going to digitize all of this, oh, don't get too close. Does that make sense while I do that? I've got this little plastic drawing table, and I used to have like little drafting dots I would use to stick it on, but I discovered that like if I just like rub my paper, like the static like holds the paper on, and that seems to work pretty good. Okay. And this is really cheap paper I'm doing this on today. Like a size bigger pen I should be using to do this. Where's that thing? Maybe I'll use a brush. I'm missing a pen. Okay. Let me zoom out and just get an overview of this whole page. So, probably got another, I could probably finish this in another half hour, but I will. I'll kind of call it good for now. Thanks everyone for joining me. All like 2 or 3 of you. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to be doing another one of these next week. I will just post information on Patreon when that's going to be, and we'll do it again soon. Thanks for tuning in.